the portal!
World of Warcraft's biggest enemy is often itself. For millions, it served as their first venture into an enormous, ever-changing online world. Whenever you talk to someone that either is or was heavily invested in the game, they always have a story to tell, such as striking down the Lich King for the first time in Icecrown Citadel, saving enough for a first mount, bonding with an incredible guild, or even something as simple as the sophomoric charm of Baron's chat. These are powerful, enduring memories that are hard to recreate. What makes the latest expansion, Warlords of Draenor, so successful is that it neither disregards nor desperately panders to the game's past glory. There's a convincing love of everything Warcraft that permeates the entire thing, reminding us that, at their best, Blizzard can create a world that refuses to be forgotten. Yet at the same time, Warlords is bursting with new ideas that dramatically reshape the game in vital and exciting ways. Above all, this decade-old MMO feels more relevant than it's been in years.
Are you so eager to meet death? Look then upon the countless faces of your demise.
It all starts with a bang. As Iron Horde orcs pour out of the Dark Portal, you and other major heroes of Azeroth charge through them into Draenor. You're immediately greeted by an imposing army and thrown into a spectacular battle. It's difficult thinking of another expansion for Warcraft or any other MMO that so immediately and effectively grabs your attention. Warlords of Draenor wants you to care about what you're doing, and that commitment extends beyond the opening. The Iron Horde is a persistent threat, and its leaders have just enough personality to stand out. Blackhand, for instance, is wreathed in flames and carries a massive spiked hammer that matches his bellowing voice.
You never belonged with us.
If you're invested in Warcraft lore, there are numerous payoffs, both big and small. Squaring off against Ner'zhul, who eventually becomes the Lich King, feels like an event. For those who have no idea what that last sentence means, it's okay. The expansion's emphasis on showing many key moments, rather than relegating them to a text box, makes it easy to pay attention. Yes, there are still many arbitrary tasks and plenty of reading to be done, but Warlords tries to make the core narrative more meaningful and present than in the past, and largely succeeds. That's not to say any of it is award-winning stuff, but it doesn't need to be. It embraces the sort of exaggerated Dungeons and Dragons mixed with superheroes vibe that Warcraft does best, and is better for it. Another reason it's so easy to get into the happenings of Draenor is the game does everything it can to keep you rooted there. By restricting flying mounts in the new zones, a controversial decision, it's harder to ignore what's around you. Instead of simply flying from one objective to another, things slow down and the scenery becomes a focus rather than an obstacle. It seems like the expansion is deliberately trying to insert a sense of discovery back into Warcraft, and we couldn't be happier. In one instance, after accidentally falling off a cliff, we swam our way back to shore and stumbled upon a cave. Inside was a ghoulish rare spawn that dropped a useful piece of gear. The moment was so incidental, which is why it stuck out. Suddenly, we weren't bound to a quest log and found something that felt like a secret, even if it likely wasn't. Garrisons also make it easy to stick around on Draenor. They act as personal hubs that offer tremendous utility. Each garrison starts at level 1 with a few available plots for buildings. These buildings provide different benefits, such as the ever-useful War Mill, which doubles the chance for quest rewards to give you a rare or epic upgrade. Followers can go on missions that offer things like gold or even pieces of gear. In many ways, the whole system functions like a social or mobile game. You decide which mission you want, pick the appropriate followers, and then wait for them to finish. There's just enough depth to make it interesting without ever distracting from the game's questing and dungeon-focused core. You'll have a far better chance at completing missions if you pick followers that are the appropriate type for the job, meaning you need to pay attention to who you're recruiting. Later on, once the followers reach max level, they'll need stronger weapons and armor to stand a chance at finishing the most difficult objectives. The worth of garrisons extends beyond their practicality. For the first time, players have a fortress that is all their own. It's a unique pleasure watching your garrison transform from a small outpost to a bustling stronghold. Workers, followers, allies, and advisors all refer to you as commander, actually making you feel important in a game played by millions. Garrisons are also just cozy. The Frostwolf Tavern doesn't need to have a basement where goblin cooks are preparing meals for the customers above, but it goes a long way in making it more than just a place where you accept quests. If only followers had the same warmth to them. They amount to little more than a character portrait and stats. The lack of meaningful interaction prevents any sort of attachment. High-level crafting can be done within the garrison, but the whole process is drawn out for the sake of it. Many engineering recipes require anywhere from 50 to 100 gear spring parts, and only a handful can be made per day. Once the limit is reached, you have to wait several hours before creating more. It effectively turns professions into a pitiful chore. Those that love the arts of blacksmithing, tailoring, and the like no longer have total control over them. For what may be remembered as one of World of Warcraft's best expansions, it's a significant disappointment.
Glad I could help.
Equally disappointing is PvP. There are no new arenas or battlegrounds to express your hatred of gnomes. Instead, Blizzard has put nearly all of their energy into Ashran, a dedicated PvP zone. It has a cap of roughly 100 players per side, and the battle never ends. There are also numerous objectives, such as taking control of towers or gaining the aid of powerful NPC allies. Blizzard has stated that Ashran is meant to appeal to many types of players by giving them a variety of ways to participate. While that's admirable in theory, it doesn't work in practice. Since it's difficult coordinating such an enormous group, everyone just rushes to the center of the map and it quickly becomes a mess. It all feels haphazard, and because there's no true end, the lack of strategy and teamwork makes Ashran less engaging and therefore less desirable than other PvP options. The zone has a lot of interesting ideas, and maybe Blizzard can eventually salvage it, but right now it's not a rewarding way to spend your time.
Bring the cannon around. We'll send both of these ships to the bottom of the sea.
The dungeons and recently introduced raid don't suffer the same fate. While none of the dungeons are extremely taxing, most are clever. They're also complex enough that they often demand your full attention. While it's tough settling on a favorite, Grimrail Depot is the first that comes to mind. It's easy to love a dungeon that mostly takes place on a moving train. The second boss jumps into a turret early in the fight, requiring groups to charge forward against gusts of wind, dealing with cannon fire and never-ending waves of enemies. The only way to topple the turret is to hop into one of your own and return fire after gathering shells from fallen foes. High Maul, the first of many planned raids, is of similar quality. It opens in a gigantic ogre-filled arena. The burly crowd roars as your group engages in gladiatorial combat, culminating in a fight against Kargath Bladefist, one of the Iron Horde leaders. And that's only the first boss. The raid is quite challenging, with a good number of mechanics to learn and master, making it satisfying to work through. Hopefully, future raids will follow suit.
You will all die!
If you're anything like us, you probably feel, or have felt, that your best days in World of Warcraft are behind you. For many, the game was a particular moment in time. The biggest and most sincere compliment we can give Warlords of Draenor is that it's reignited our enthusiasm. While it's difficult to say how long Blizzard can keep that fire kindled, we're shocked that in 2014, we eagerly want to log in every day. And though it sounds cliche, there's never been a better time for new players to join. The included level 90 boost lets you get to the new stuff immediately. World of Warcraft is an achievement that's never truly been outdone, and Warlords of Draenor ensures its reign will continue for the foreseeable future.